So you've admitted that you've been feeling unhappy and unfulfilled, but nothing has worked to shift that feeling. Today I'm sharing 3 steps that will, and one of them is to not listen to me. Welcome back. Are you more than ready to be here, to be on the video where we finally take that feeling of confusing unsatisfaction, even though life is seemingly okay, and transform it to true contentment and joy for your life? Because if you're watching this channel, my best guess is you have already tried all the things. You've tried therapy, you've tried reading the books, maybe you've even hired a coach and made some big life changes, and yet it still lingers. So let's get to the root of it today and help you make one small shift that is the first domino for many more to come. And by the way, the stakes are really high here, because if you've already tried so many different ways and yet have still not found your fulfillment, my best guess is you're pretty close to just accepting life as it is, missing out on your opportunity to live your most full expression of what's possible for you and your unique life right now and for so many years to come. A tagline in my group coaching program is your best life is still in front of you. I very strongly believe this, especially if you're watching today's video. And by staying all the way to the end of this video, you will not only learn all of the 3 essential steps to get out of this rut, but you will also receive a gift that will exponentially increase your chances of getting out of this feeling of unfulfillment and into your better life as soon as possible. So last week I stood right here and I talked about the difference between being unhappy and experiencing low life satisfaction. And this is important because as I look to the research to find solutions and practices that work, of course we need to first identify what we are solving. So as I shared last week, life satisfaction has 4 key elements. There are 4 different elements that are at play here: life chances, course of events, flow of experience, and evaluation of life. And I explain a little bit more detail about each of those core elements in last week's video. So if you haven't watched that video yet, pause this video, go back, watch it through, and then come back and get ready for the practices to start to implement real change in these 4 areas. So once you've watched that video and completed those 3 steps to admit, understand, and feel the feeling that you're experiencing right now, let's go back to that list of the 4 elements of life satisfaction and ask which of these can you influence most. As I briefed last week, that first element of life satisfaction is influenced by a lot of the systems, society, and circumstances that we are embedded in. That does not mean we ignore this altogether. In fact, it is a huge mission of mine and everyone who is a member of the ASEAN community to benefit the world and the community in the best way that we can. And that starts with ensuring you are well and able to do so. Here's where our 3 steps come in. Before we can start to make any mindset or behavior shifts, we really have to start with the 4th element of life satisfaction, and that is your evaluation of life. Remember earlier in this video where I said one of these steps would be not to listen to me? That's about to make sense. This element of evaluation of your life is so important and an element that so many individuals miss, and in my experience is likely the one greatest challenge individuals have that keep them stuck feeling unfulfilled and unhappy. We must first step back from all the possible behavior and mindset changes that you could possibly create for your life and first ask, what is your end goal? What is your version of a good life? While research and advice and talking to other people that you trust and admire is really helpful on some parts of this journey, it is also equally, if not more, essential to start with yourself, your inner guide. And yes, for those who have read my book, this is where my book starts. Find your compass. Who are you listening to? And are you listening to yourself? So step 1 of this process is to find a space where you can hear yourself. For some of us, that's through meditation. For others, that's through journaling. With some coaching styles, this is also a really excellent place to create space for your voice, but be sure you're not hiring a coach who is more of an advisor or mentor. It's really a coach trained to help you bring out your inner voice, which is my coaching style with my one-on-one clients. And if none of the above sound exciting, then simply start to notice throughout your day-to-day what excites you and what doesn't. As you start to pull these puzzle pieces together, you will start to see a picture of your good life. And if you turned on this video, chances are that your good life doesn't quite match your current reality, in which case, now we can go on to steps 2 and 3 to shift our mindset and shift our behaviors. So starting with the mindset piece, again, as defined by the literature, mindsets that are positively related to increased life satisfaction include satiation, love, respect, safety, excitement, and rapture. Here are a few examples of what this shift actually looks like in real life. So excitement, for instance, is a mindset we know to enhance life satisfaction. And excitement has been talked about as a very similar emotion to nerves. So if you're feeling nervous or anxious about something, sidebar, I'm talking about something different than anxiety or an anxiety disorder. Personally, I'm thinking of the times when I'm about to host a workshop or a training event. I love speaking, but I still get those giddy nerves. And I could let myself fall down that pathway of feeling nervous and anxious and then feeling negative emotions before and during the event. Or, when possible, remember, hey, this is a cousin emotion of excitement. Could I shift my mindset into one of more excitement rather than nerves and the negative stories that go along with that? Another example I implemented back when I was living in LA, and if any of you are from LA, you know the traffic is not too enjoyable. I realized that my mindset got really negative if I was sitting in traffic or if I experienced some drivers who weren't too kind, at least from my perspective. Me feeling anger or frustration with these drivers wasn't serving anyone, and in fact was only negatively impacting me. Because of this, at one point I decided I was going to assume the best out of everyone. If I got cut off or if someone was speeding down the highway, old me would have made some negative story about how disrespectful that was. But new me came up with this story of love, this perspective and mindset that, maybe their wife is going into labor. Maybe they're really late for an important meeting. Maybe they had a really bad day and this is just how it's funneling out of their system. This isn't to excuse behavior that is harmful to others. However, it can be really helpful in situations like this where thinking negatively or going into the quote-unquote negative thought patterns is only harming you. And definitely the more and more I practice, and I continue to do this to this day, love and assuming the best out of everyone, the happier I am and the greater life satisfaction that I experience. And for a final mindset example, let's hone in on that element of safety. I've talked on this channel about gremlins, about addressing our fears and our limiting beliefs. And for me, a fear and limiting belief that can sneak into my life is a feeling of being unsafe. Not physically unsafe, but feeling like I'm not certain of my next steps, or feeling something like financial instability or financial uncertainty that sends me and my gremlin self or my fears into a spiral of lack of safety. Over a year ago, I was on a coaching session where I was the client, I was being coached, and my coach asked me such an important question. She said, "How are you safe right now?" Now, granted, this was when I was in one of those spirals of not feeling safe. Again, not because I physically wasn't safe, but because my mind had created this whole story about how taking a risk that actually felt good when I checked in with my core was an unsafe thing to do. So when she asked, "How are you safe right now?" I realized, wow, I have a roof over my head, I have a business I love, I have parents, I have a partner, I have a dog that protects me on our walks, I have food that nourishes my body. There are all these elements where I am absolutely safe. And once I reframed my mindset and realized I really am safe here, it helped me to take a risk and walk towards something that improved my life satisfaction even more, because I could take a risk on something I cared about and still maintain that feeling of safety when I focused on it intentionally. Okay, last but not least, to change your actions to start experiencing greater life satisfaction and get unstuck from that feeling of unfulfillment. Life satisfaction actions include protection, company, honor, affluence, challenge, and beauty. Again, starting with what we really have most control over, a few examples of how you can start to shift your actions to be happier and to start experiencing life satisfaction include inviting challenge into your life. The counter to this is routine. Things that we do every day that are so second nature, we can almost do them with our eyes closed. Right now, I'm thinking of my avocado toast I make in the morning. Tyler would probably laugh. Every morning, I heat up the pan in the exact same way. I make my avocado toast with eggs and spinach next to a peanut butter toast. Sometimes I change it up and do peanut butter and jam. Sometimes it's peanut butter and honey, always a cup of coffee. That is my breakfast and has been my breakfast for a very long time. I love this breakfast. However, if I want to increase my life satisfaction, it may do me good to challenge myself to step out of that routine, learn a new breakfast, and see how it feels. This isn't to say I can never have avocado toast ever again, and I definitely wouldn't choose that. I think that would decrease my life satisfaction. However, to notice in our lives where we're doing things in a very routine way, this can get us into a mundane pattern. And to shake things up every now and then does our brain and does our whole being a whole lot of good. Adding challenge may also mean picking up a new hobby, putting yourself in a vulnerable situation like making new friends or going to a new restaurant, finding a new dog park, or even just taking a new route to work. Another example of changing our actions to increase life satisfaction includes that element of company, which I'm honing in on. Again, I did this last week as well, but because it's so essential right now in 2022 and I hear everyone talking about it. A lot of the embed social events that were part of our life are no longer there to fulfill the part of us that needs relationship. And so if you feel like you have low life satisfaction in 2022, this may be a good action to start with. Introduce company back into your life. This could be a phone call. This could be a text message. This could be asking someone to go grab drinks or play cribbage with you or get a group together for euchre. This could even be going to a coffee shop to do your work around people rather than by yourself. Of course, depending on the safety measures that are happening in your city. An example of when I did this is when I moved to Montana last year. I felt really homesick and I was longing for the relationships I had left behind in the Midwest. Simultaneous to this, I was very much in the routine, back to another action, of working rather late. And so for a 1-week period, it really wasn't that long, I determined I would end work at 7 and I would schedule a call with someone I wanted to catch up with at 7:15. This held me accountable for 2 elements of changing my actions that increased my life satisfaction. To break this all down really simply, the first step is to take an evaluation of what your good life looks and feels like. Then take micro shifts to shift your mindset into one that provokes greater life satisfaction. And lastly, start to shift your actions in small ways that increase your life satisfaction. All of this you can definitely prioritize in a 1-week period. I say 1 week because I come on here every Tuesday, and so you have a week until I share my next practice with you. However, I really invite you, as always, to start small. Small shifts are the most impactful because you follow through with them, and then you see the changes and that momentum carries forward. So with all of this, take a step back, ask yourself, what is one thing I want to shift that stood out to me from today's training, and then make that shift in a small way. By making it all the way to the end of this video, I have a free gift for you that will exponentially increase your chances of getting out of this rut, feeling unfulfilled, and starting to create your better life in as little time as possible. This is an invitation to join my free group coaching call. This is simply a space I provide every single month to connect with you on a more personal level. There's a link below for you to save your seat to join our next group coaching call. And when you click that link, you also have the opportunity to submit questions directly to me that I will prioritize and answer during our group coaching call. There is so much research to back that when you take this sort of step to enlist support and to be in a community that is intentionally supporting your path to creating your better life, you are far more likely of making the real change and sustaining that change over time. And in order to get somewhere new, you have to do something different as well. So click that link, save your seat, and I'm so excited to support you on an even deeper level. And to foster even more accountability and support for yourself, if you're not already, subscribe to this channel. And if you enjoyed today's video, give this video a like, comment below, share this video out with your friends or with someone else who may benefit from this conversation. And I sincerely look forward to seeing you again for more free positive psychology trainings next Tuesday.